Well, the chickens are 6 weeks old, so we're back to do another episode of our Cornish Cross versus Freedom Ranger chickens experiment to see which one's going to grow better here on our homestead.
Over the past 6 or 7 years, we have been raising our own chickens on our homestead here in the Missouri Ozarks, as well as when we lived in the city and had an urban homestead. And we have always raised the Cornish Cross chickens, but we've been hearing things lately throughout the homesteading community about Freedom Rangers or Red Rangers. And so we decided to do an experiment for ourselves and for the homesteading community, and to track the differences between how they grow in our environment.
Now, we're trying hard to keep our personal opinions out of this and just give you guys the facts every week about how they're growing. We raise our chickens in movable tractors, so every day they get moved to fresh grass so they can eat the grass and the bugs, but we also supplement them with a feed and make sure that they always have access to fresh water. We actually learned how to do this based on Joel Salatin, who, if any of you have read his books on how to raise a pastured poultry, you know he has great success, and we try to follow his method as closely as possible.
Every week we record different numbers to bring that information to you, including how much food that they have eaten over the past week and since they've come to the homestead at a couple days old. We have actually already weighed all of that feed, so now we're going to turn our attention to the chickens and start weighing them to see how much they've grown over the last week. Okay, let's start weighing these guys. I have randomly pulled out 5 of the Freedom Ranger roosters. Freedom Ranger number 1. $3.59 pounds. Number 2. $3.58 pounds. Number 3. $3.52. Number 4. $3.92 pounds. And number 5. $3.53 pounds. So we want to compare these guys with amount of feathers like we did last time. There is always a conception that the Cornish Cross have a lot less feathers than the Freedom Rangers, and so we just want to compare for ourselves and to show for you guys too whether or not that seems to be the case. So we're going to compare the breast
Let's
side.
start with looking at the breasts. You can see on the Freedom Rangers it's pretty bald. There's some pin feathers, but for the most part it's pretty bald down here on the belly area. Let's take a look at the Cornish. So the Cornish definitely have less little pin feathers on the breast area, and their skin is a lot pinker, so you can see it, you know, with the white feathers especially, you can see it. So I'd say the Cornish have a few less, but not a lot less on the belly area. What do you think?
Yeah, and if you move your fingers out of the way, I think you can see that even off to the sides and stuff,
they're pretty bald.
They're pretty bald too. But it is harder to see because of the color of their feathers. Now let's do under the wing and like the thigh area.
Okay. So under the wing, again, pretty bald for the Freedom Rangers. But again, you guys, we have to keep in mind that even though these birds are starting to look big, they're immature. They're only 6 weeks old. So we got to keep that in mind for both of them when we're comparing.
Okay, so let's look at the Cornish Cross.
I actually think the Cornish has more feathers under the wing than the Freedom Rangers. And I mean, I'd say on the back and all of that, they're pretty comparable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I don't think there's that big of a difference. I don't think I would allow that to
sway you either way.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that would play into my decision at all, because honestly, they look about the same to me. All right, let's do the Cornish Cross. Number 1. 5.09 pound. Number 2. £5 even. Number 3. He's trying to escape. $5.44. Number 4. $5.16. Number 5. $5.09. All right, so we've got everybody weighed, we've got all the feed weighed, we figured everything out for the week. Well, we got all the raw numbers. So as just like other weeks, we're gonna go in, we're gonna have some lunch, we're gonna do all of our nerdy chicken math that you guys have grown to love, and then we're gonna come back out, we'll go over all the numbers. But this week, because several of you have asked, I'll also tell you how to do the math. I don't know why people want to learn about nerdy chicken math, but if you do, I'll teach you.
So now's the time to grab your pen and paper, because when we get back, he'll tell you all those things.
All right, well, we're back out and we've got all the numbers figured out. So we're gonna start by looking at how the Freedom Rangers did this week.
Yes, so the Freedom Rangers, their average weight this week was 3.63 pounds. Overall, each bird has eaten 9.95 pounds of feed. On average, they have gained 0.86 pounds of body weight since last week, and their current feed conversion is 2.74, which means 2.74 pounds of feed was needed to create 1 pound of body weight. And the Freedom Rangers total have consumed 248.76 pounds of feed since they arrived on the homestead.
All right, so now for the Cornish Cross. The average weight this week for the Cornish Cross was 5.15 pounds. To date, they have eaten an average of 11.09 pounds per bird. This week they gained 1.34 pounds on average, so 1.34 pounds more than last week. Their feed conversion is at 2.15, so like Sarah said, that means they need to eat 2.15 pounds of feed for every pound of body weight that they've gained. Now they've eaten a total so far of 243.87 pounds of feed, but you have to remember that at the beginning we lost 3 of the Cornish Cross early on, so we only have 22 of them now. So I did do the math to make that so like if there were still 25 of them, if there were 25 it would be at 277.125. So that way it's easier to compare with the Cornish or with the Freedom Rangers. All right, so let me tell you how we did all of the math. So the average weight, we weighed 5 of each. So you add together those 5 weights, you divide by 5, and that gives you your average weight for those 5. Feed, what we do is we take the total amount of feed consumed and divide that by the number of birds, and that gives you the average that, per bird. For the weekly gain, it is what they weighed this week minus what they weighed last week to get your weekly gain. And for feed conversion, it is the feed per bird divided by their average weight, and that gives you the feed conversion. So I hope that helps. So when you guys raise them, if you want to figure that stuff out, you can do that as well. All right, so now that we've gone over both of them, let's just highlight some of the differences that we have observed this week. So the Cornish have definitely pulled ahead as far as weight goes. They're now on average 1.52 or a pound and a half more than the Freedom Rangers. Now they have eaten about a pound more, a little over a pound more of feed per bird. But this week they gained a half a pound more on average than the Freedom Rangers. So at the end of the day, this is about providing meat for our family, and so those things are important. you know, but it's up to each homesteader to decide how important those things are to you. To us, those are pretty important, but you know, we'll still see how they end up. So all in all, I think week 6 was a good week for both breeds. Now, like we've said, we've raised the Cornish for several years, many years now. I guess 7 years or so we've been raising the Cornish. We always aim for an 8-pound live bird, which typically takes about 8 weeks. At 8 weeks old, they should be 7.5 to 8 pounds, which will give you about a 5 to 5.5 pound processed bird for the freezer.
The Freedom Rangers, as we've looked into them, they should be growing for about 9 to 11 weeks in order to get to about a 5 to 6 pound live weight bird. So there are some big differences there. Our target processing date is 8 weeks for the Cornish Cross at 8 pounds. That's just what we're used to. So we'll see how everybody's doing at that point. But going into it, we know that the Freedom Rangers should take 9 to 11 weeks to get to 5 to 6 pounds.
Right, so that'll give us probably a 3.5 pound processed bird with the Freedom Rangers. Our goal, really, we've kind of talked about it, is to go right in the middle of that and raise the Freedom Rangers to 10 weeks and then process them then, because anything more than that, I think they're going to just be eating food but not putting on weight. So,
right. But when we do process the Cornish Cross, we plan to process 3 of the Freedom Rangers at the same time so that we can be showing the differences between the 2 at butchering time. Right,
and then we can also do our taste test after that so that we can see if there's a big difference in the taste of the birds. So that's where we're at for week 6.
One thing that I want to talk about real quick, and we need a favor from you guys. One question that we've been getting over and over is, like, how much is it going to cost us to raise these birds? How much is it going to cost you to raise these birds? And that's a really hard question for us to answer because the cost of feed is so variable around the country.
Right.
We can tell you that in Phoenix, where we had our homestead in the city, we were paying 3 times as much for meat bird food than we are here. So if we would do all those calculations and tell you how much it costs us to raise meat birds, it would be completely different than what it might cost you.
Right, and you might be pretty upset with us if you raise them and it's 3 times more expensive than what we told you.
Right, so what we'd like to do is we'd like to come up with an average how much chicken feed costs for you guys, so that we can average that out and use that average number in the end to tell you an average of how much it's going to cost to raise these chickens.
Right, so in the comment section below, just leave a note, a comment, letting us know what you're currently paying for chicken feed in your area, and then we'll figure out the average out of all of those, so when we do our final calculations at the end of this series, that's the number that we can use.
Yes, you can look forward to more nerdy chicken math.
Right. Hey, keep adding on the nerdy chicken math. So you guys, that wraps up week 6 of us doing this experiment. We hope you're enjoying it. We hope that you're getting some good facts and that you're enjoying seeing, both of these breeds and how they do here on the homestead.
I really do hope that this is providing valuable information, not only just for us, but for the entire homesteading community, so that you guys can make a good choice for whatever that is for your homestead.
Right. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what we decide to do. We want to give you the facts so that you can make an informed decision about what works best on your homestead.
Absolutely. So you guys, if you enjoyed this video and you're not a subscriber yet, right now is a perfect time to hit the subscribe button below. To all of you faithful traditionalists that come back and watch all of our new videos 5 days a week, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. If you know somebody who you think would enjoy this series or our channel in general, please go ahead and share this with them. And until next time, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.